And we are back.
We back, man.
Man, on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon over here on the East Coast down south. It's 3 p.m. But we have a special guest coming live from the West Coast, man.
Man, who we got, man? Who we got, man? Talk about it.
Yeah, so for all the people out there who are listening to audio land and those tapping in visually, we are with none other than journalist extraordinaire who has put in a lot of work in the journalist field, definitely on the TV field as well, has opened doors for some people, has written about some of your favorite players and some of your favorite teams, and has probably even ruffled some feathers over time. You know what I mean? But we want to thank him, and we want everybody out there to, if you're watching or if you're listening, just give it up and give a hand clap for the great Rob Parker. What's going on?
What's happening, guy? Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And coming to you from USC Annenberg, the journalism school, communication school here, where I teach. So it's great to be with you.
Thank you for coming. Yeah,
definitely. Thank you so much. And we only have Rob for a short time, so I won't get into a whole lot. It's so much I would love to tap into on a personal level to ask you about your entire journey.
Yeah, we could do part now and then another part later. So it's not a one-time deal. You know what I mean? We can definitely do it. Just whatever you want to talk about today, let's just talk about it, and then we could always have another time.
All right, well, let's dig into it. NFL draft time. We are over in the city of Atlanta. The draft will be in 2 nights from now, the first round. Our Atlanta Falcons. Have you been paying attention? From the national scope, we know you pay attention to everything. What is your opinion on what you think the Falcons may do, Coach Rod, and what do you think the Falcons will potentially do with Kirk Cousins on draft night?
Well, I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand the Kirk Cousins thing. The draft, you know what I mean? Teams are just going to try to fill. It's not the greatest draft. There's not real buzz to this draft. Even at the top picks, other than Cam Ward and a couple other picks, is pretty mellow that I can remember. Kirk Cousins, bad signing, and now they got to be forced to live with that contract. It's ridiculous that you would pay a guy to be a backup quarterback. They should have just admitted to their mistake and move on. It doesn't make sense what they're doing to hold on to him as a backup quarterback. Should have just released him and poured ketchup on that contract and ate it. That's it.
They pour some ketchup on it and ate
it. Do you think they'll be able to trade Cousins?
I just don't know who's going to take him. Why would you? I would just, if I'm a team, I would just wait till they release him. Why would I give up anything for him? I don't see how they're going to hold on to him and just have 2 quarterbacks and pay him that much money not to play. It just seems silly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I hope we can get him off to one of these teams, man. Hopefully, because like you said, it was a bad signing. What you think about Michael Penix, man? You think Michael Penix the real deal?
I mean, we still got to see. Football's funny to me. I know a lot of people like to crown people right away and whatnot. I'm not in that camp. You got to take time. I've seen guys get off to good starts and then fall off, and there's a lot of bust of quarterbacks in the first round. They're just history is not everybody's going to make it and everybody's going to be good. Doesn't mean you can't be serviceable, but it doesn't mean you're going to be great. I've liked the small sample size I've seen. It was gutsy move by Atlanta to do what they did, even with Kirk Cousins struggling, to put in a rookie quarterback and then not make the playoffs because you lose a couple of those games. And I'm not blaming it all on him, but that was gutsy. And maybe they were looking for a spark and thought, they were going to be able to win and make the playoffs and then have a launching pad for him, but it didn't work out that way. So it'll be interesting as the starting quarterback and starting the season from game 1.
Yeah, one thing that I liked about Penix that I saw was he seemed to be cool under pressure. Seemed like he's been there, done that before. So I think that attitude, and if he continues to have, that poise, I think it'll take him far. So hopefully, the short sample size we saw, man, it will be more best.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got it. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. As I said, it's It's not an exact science. There's a lot of guys who play quarterback. Most teams would give up their quarterback in the New York Minute to get a good quarterback because there's so many so-so quarterbacks. There's just so many. There's only about 10 or 12 really good quarterbacks, and the rest are all about the same.
100%. Well, while we speaking of quarterbacks, you know, it's always a lot of talk when it comes to the draft. Teams put misinformation out, different things. You never know who's trying to get who's trying to make somebody drop or whatnot. But what do you think about the chatter that just all of a sudden started about Shador? That it just seems like it's just so much negative chatter around him recently, at least in my opinion, from looking from afar, from what's being said from certain anonymous sources.
Yeah, I think that's common. Like you said, you know what people are putting out to see if maybe he'll drop or people's opinions. One thing I'm positive is that no one really knows where he'll be drafted. I really don't think it could be 3, it could be 11, it could be 20. I really believe that because it's a weak quarterback draft, and people don't look at him, his size, arm strength, other stuff, to say he's a generational talent for sure, if, ands, or buts. Is he a talented player? Yes. Is he a great athlete? Yes. But as I said, there's a lot of gray area in the quarterback position, and I really don't know where he could wind up, and not just from the chatter, but just from the standpoint of when you look at certain quarterbacks and you look at them and you say, yeah, this guy checks all the boxes. He's going to be one of those guys. I don't think Shador checks all the boxes in that same vein, but I'm not saying he's a bum or can't play. I think that's why there's so much talk about him. Unlike you don't hear anything about Cam Ward. In this draft, he's going to be the first pick and a quarterback, right? Have you heard any negative talk about him or anything? No, because the consensus is he's going to be the first pick.
No, I see what you're saying on that. Hey, Rob, I want to turn it to the Atlanta Hawks. Yesterday, they fired Landry Fields. What's going on with that? Why, I mean, it seemed like Landry was the good luck charm, got him the first pick, picked Zachary Ricochet and salvaged the Dejounte Murray trade by picking up Dyson Daniels and 2 first-rounders. Why did that happen?
I mean, where are the Hawks going? I mean, home dinner, maybe a show. They're not going nowhere. I'm sorry. What? Tell me what the Hawks are to you, because I don't know what they are. And
I see the Hawks being a young team. They have a good core. Got Jalen Johnson. They got Dyson Daniels, Zachary Ricochet, and Trae Young. I think they're a big away and a player that can be a primary scorer like Trae. I think once we get that, we'll be making some noise in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm confused on really what they are. A couple of years ago, how do we go from a couple of years ago when Trae and beat the Knicks and that whole scenario, and everybody thought he had come into his own, and there was that moment, you know what I mean, and the Hawks were on their way. That seems like 10 years ago, let alone 3 years ago. And in this game, as people get moved around. If things aren't happening, you see coaches getting fired left and right. Mike Malone won a NBA Finals 2 years ago. He's out.
Yes.
This game doesn't wait for anybody. You got a couple years to try to get it figured out and be in the right direction. If not, they're going to go get somebody else. And like they say, if you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem.
Well, one thing, like speaking on behalf, not everyone thinks differently. I can't speak for every single Atlanta fan, but I know there are a lot of Atlanta fans who think like what I'm about to say when it comes to the Atlanta Hawks. One thing we're looking to see in this offseason especially, something has to be done, because it seems like we're just spinning our wheels. It just seems like we kind of stuck in the same place. We talk a lot about development. We talk a lot about what Trae Young needs, and I love Trae Young. My partner here loves Trae Young, and a lot of fans here do. But it doesn't seem like ownership has been able to go out and get the player who's the best complement to Trae. So what the Atlanta Hawks are a team that has to figure out which way are we going. Are we actually rebuilding? Do we need to blow it all up and say this is not working, or can we just go ahead and figure it out and stop spinning our wheels? Because the Atlanta fans, I say it all the time. If the Atlanta Hawks have a winner, it'll be no better place to go to a game on a Friday night than in State Farm Arena. That arena is rocking, but the fans, we want to see a winner, and hopefully they can get Trae Young the help they need.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I don't know who they are, where they're going, and they need to figure it out because you don't want to waste Trey Young's time there, or decide that you might have to move on, and maybe you have to. Maybe that's the move at some point. But right now, the Hawks just seem to be sputtering and disappointing. I always think when I think of them, I think of underperforming and disappointment more than anything.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. Well, Trey, I want to take it over to the Atlanta Braves. I don't know if you got a chance over the weekend to see what happened. One of the Ronald Acuna had tweeted out saying if that would have been him, they would have taken him out the game, and it was referring to one of our lesser utility players hit a pop fly and then run it out, or hit a single and then run it out, got put out, and everyone's down Ronald Acuna's butt for that. But hey, I blame the manager. Why he didn't say nothing? I mean, that would have pissed me off if they would have suspended me or benched me because I didn't do something and somebody else it happens to them. Why you not calling him out?
100%. Ronald Acuna is spot on. I think he is. If that's how the manager is going to treat a player for not hustling, and I don't have an issue with that, but it has to be across the board for everybody. That's all, right? So you can't pick and choose and look at a player, Ronald Acuna, MVP, you know what I mean, and do it to him, but easily could have done it to this reserve player who's not even performing well. There's no reason you're in the big leagues to not hustle and run it out. You know what I mean? That's an indictment of the organization, of your teammates, of everybody. All you have to do is give hustle and run out every ball you hit. And I think the manager blew it. And this whole idea is trying to make it like he don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he said he didn't see the play. Yeah, he didn't say.
Yeah,
knows.
It's total BS. It's total BS. And he better be careful because you could ruin your reputation. And the Braves have a lot of Latin players. And if they feel like you're treating them one way and they have to respond, and a white player who's not doing the same exact thing is getting a pass, it doesn't work well when the clubhouse and a manager can lose a clubhouse despite them winning a World Series in 2021, which was a great team. The Braves have a lot of good players, but everybody's got to be treated the same way. So that's a mistake on the manager's part.
Yeah, I was
one thing about it, like I'm with Ronald. I'm with Ronald 100%. I don't think Brian Snitker should have done what he like. He knows that because
he does know. He does know.
He knows. And they had history there with Ronald trying to get Ronald to do more quote unquote traditional. This is how we do it in baseball. You cover baseball. You've been doing it a long time. You know these unwritten rules that they have in baseball. And I think they tried to get Ronald for so long to just fall under these unwritten rules. So Snit, he knows. But I will say this, and you give me your opinion on that. I'm not 100% sure the leader of the team should have went ahead and put that tweet out and made it public. I think he should have just handled it in-house. Enough of us as fans, we saw it and knew it was unfair. We knew what Snit was doing. Now, Ronald saying something brought more attention to it. But what do you think about Ronald speaking on it and tweeting about it?
100%. You normally want to handle something at man to man, and you want to vent your frustration or talk to the manager. But he's not with the team right now, right? I mean, that's another part of it. And he tweeted it out and then took down the post. That's the era we live in with these younger guys. They don't talk to you face to face. They don't step up to a woman and ask them to go out on a date or for their number. It's through electronics. That's what they do. Do you know what I mean? It's weird to older guys like us when we had to sweat it out and actually step to somebody and say, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Rob. I would love to have your number, take you out to lunch." They don't do that.
I'm here to fight for Ronald on that one because when he did it, they took him out the game. Everybody knew what it was. Why did Brian Snitker go to the press and rip Ronald a new one? We can say that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and then how can he come to the press and act like he didn't even see the guy not run out of ball, man? Like that right there is some BS. And I'm pretty sure Like, that was a big deal for Ronald. You had Freddie Freeman going off on you. You had your coach going off on you, and he had to come save face and keep playing and playing at a high level. You know, that's hard to do. And knowing people, your coach is mad at you, and the Atlanta Brave great Freddie Freeman is upset with you, which they had a right to be. But to call him out and to do that and to come back, and I mean, I would have felt a certain way. He should have done something about it. He should have took dude out the game. They didn't do it. Ronald felt a certain way. I would have felt a certain way. I'd have felt like, damn, I'm the star of the team. Like,
I mean, feeling away and tweeting about it is two different things.
Yeah,
We're talking about tweeting
right.
about it.
I would have said something though. I don't fault him for tweeting about it, Trey, because they didn't keep quiet about it when they went to the press after the game when everybody.
Right, but the issue isn't about. I think he's right. Ronald Acuna is 100% right, but there's a way of handling. Everything doesn't have to be tweeted or made public. You can handle stuff. If something happens in your household, you don't go out and tweet about your wife or your kids, right? You talk to them. So we're supposed to be a family, right? Yeah. Yo, this needs to change. I wasn't happy. The eggs were sloppy and runny. And, you know, like, you don't go tweet, my wife can't make breakfast, right?
Can't make eggs, all right? Now, but you said it all, though. It's a new age, man. Everybody's in this, you know, social media.
I get it. I'm just saying that, but that's what these guys do. They're non-confrontational. They aren't willing to step up to somebody and say something to them. That's me. I'm an old school guy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I truly believe that. Look, I'm with Ronald. So don't get me wrong, B. I'm with Ronald.
Oh no, I got you. I know you are.
Everything Rob said was spot on, and everything you said was spot on. I just wish Ronald would have. Okay, hey, it's time to have this conversation in person. I don't like that. And we know where Snit was coming from. You know, we know that is documented that Ronald and Freddie had issues. They tried to enforce those old quote unquote baseball rules, which some of the rules to me are ridiculous. That's just me. That don't showboat or you get hit with the ball. Like, come on, dog. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's outdated. And Ronald didn't want to, you know, adhere, or he didn't want to follow those particular rules, and so that's why they came down on him. I don't think what Snit did is right. I just wish Ronald would have handled it, but handled it without the public scene. But who knows? Maybe it'll work out in his favor.
All right, Trey. Well, it looks like time is catching up on us. Anything you want to ask him before we head out, man?
Yeah, man. In case we don't talk to you before the finals ends, who do you think is going to win the NBA finals? If you had to say who you think is going to meet in the finals, who do you think is going to walk away with the championship this year?
I know everybody has discounted the OKC Thunder. I'm going to go, and I'm going to just pick one. Forget about the inexperience. They play great defense, like all year. Look at their defensive numbers, and I don't know. And I look on the East. I want to say Cleveland, but I don't know. I can't bet against Boston and what they have. I'd like to see something different. Would OKC Cleveland be so different for the NBA and great, you know, or do we need the old guard? I know a lot of people thought it was going to be LeBron and Luka, and then game one came and they ran into a buzzsaw. So now people aren't as gung-ho on the Lakers a little bit. I know it's only one game, but they got some defensive issues that could be exposed. So I'm going to just go on a limb. I'm going to say OKC and Boston breaks the long-standing how hard it is to repeat in the NBA. I'm going to take Boston over OKC.
Yeah, I agree with you that OKC will not win the championship. I don't know who is. I got to give it up to experience. You know, LeBron got the experience. I got to give it up to Ant-Man losing their heartbreaker to Dallas last year. They got some experience for that. I'm pretty sure they're hungry. So I don't know if OKC is ready or battle tested to make it through. We'll see. But I agree with you. I think Boston has a good chance coming out. Boston has experience over Cleveland.
Yeah, I think Boston can do it. And we almost on that 20-minute mark, Rob. So if you want to tell people about the MLBpro.com. You sent something to me a little earlier. I saw an article you wrote. If you want to close it out and let people know some things about you where they can follow more of what you do.
Yep. Check out The Odd Couple on Fox Sports Radio. We're on every night, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. You could also check out my website, MLBbro.com, where we cover black and brown major league players only. It's a great site. We're all over social media. Started it 5 years ago. We have a partnership with Major League Baseball, and we do some really good stuff telling the stories about current and past Black players. MLBBro.com. I think I sent you the newsletter. You can subscribe. Always keep up to date. So it's great. So those are the two ways, the best way to keep up with me. MLBBro.com and at Fox Sports Radio as well.
Well, thank you so much, man. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time.
So you gonna come back on?
Yeah. We'll do another one if you want to talk about.
I got something I want to talk about, Rob.
Yeah.
I got something I want to talk about. We represented that 4-4 to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? That article you wrote a couple years ago. I want to get into that.
that wasn't a couple years ago. I was like 10 years ago. But you know what? On ESPN.com, it got the most responses ever for a story on ESPN.com. At one point, over 8,000 reply, 8,000 comments, which is unbelievable.
Yeah,
comments on it, and we will talk about that because Atlanta is the worst sports town in America.
Oh man, nah, you can't do that. Now we gonna cut you off, Rob. You gotta get back to your students. We love the city of Atlanta. We represent the city of Atlanta,
hey, man, and we have. Man.
And look, we need to talk about this because we do need to let you know and see how great of a sports town it is for the people who are born and raised. We do love these teams. We just want a winner, but we do love these teams.
All right.
But we appreciate
matter of fact, I'm gonna be in Atlanta next weekend. I'm going to the Braves-Dodgers game next Saturday night. So I'm Twin Peaks for lunch, a little magic.
We got to get with you. We got to get with you.
Baseball game. That's it.
Listen. Look, if you can go to Twin Peaks and then Magic City, how can you say that's the worst sports town? Sounds like one of the greatest sports towns.
That's my issue is not selling out playoff games, and I don't care what you say. When you don't sell out playoff games, you are not a great sports town.
Let me tell you something. When the Falcons were winning, we were throwing parties in the airport. When the Falcons were winning, we were throwing parties at the
Hey, Trey, and look.
When the Falcons were winning, I'm telling you.
When the Hawks make that run, we sold out every game. Every game. But all right, man.
All right.
We're going to thank you, Rob.
Take us out of here, Trey.
Hey, on behalf of Atlanta, we always say the Waterboyz Show. We represent Atlanta because Atlanta represents us. We want to thank the great Rob Parker for coming on with us. Atlanta's new nemesis. Yeah, I'm going to name him that. We're going to have to talk about this. So on behalf of myself, Trey, and my partner, B. Rich, and Rob Parker, the Waterboyz Show, we are out.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, that was dope. So once you saw him and you heard